Going to be about making a game. We're going to be doing 2 levels and using broadcasting to change backgrounds and to have sprites appear and disappear. So all your sprites, all your players are always on the stage. It's whether you can see them or not. So as you can see, I have 2 sprites here. My second sprite is a cake that I'm going to be using for my second half of the game, and as you can see, it's not appearing, so I can show it here. Okay, I've also got blocks that I can put on to show. Okay, right, so the first element is going to be making the titles and a few instructions for the player. So I'm going to go in and create a sprite. I'm using black type. I'm going to type it. Okay. Right. Now, make sure that everything, whatever you do, you sit it on top of the little dot in the middle here, and that will give you the opportunity to make each thing easier to make. Right, paint a new one, type again. Okay, once again, going to make sure that that is sitting right on top of the dots so that it's centralized, and another set of instructions. To this cake. Right, and shifting, making sure it's all sitting right on top of the little dot. Okay, so it's 3 lot of instructions because I didn't want it to be too. Right, might move this now so that I've got to get onto the lighter part, or down here in the most plain part. Let's have a look. Right, so it'll be easy enough to get those instructions on. So first of all, we're going to now code it so that the instructions appear. So first of all, this is my placement. Flag drops. I want them to show. Okay. Then I'm just going to get them to go to next costume so that you get all the instructions. Three lots to get through. You only have to do it twice to get it through there, and make sure that I always start with the first instruction and then hide will be my last thing. Now, so it doesn't whiz through at a rate of knots, we're going to have to put some wait time in, so it gives the person a chance to read the instructions. Now that should do it. Let's see if it does the trick. We'll just give it a test out. Okay, I think that's too fast. So I'm going to put 2 seconds for each of these instructions. See if that works better. Okay, these are bigger instructions, so I put 3 seconds in there. Beautiful. Right, that's working beautifully. So that's my instructions to start with. I might need to put another set in there, just telling the player to click on the space bar to start it. Right, again, put this right in the middle on that dot. Okay, and I'll have to adjust my coding so that I add another repeat in there so I get to the last instruction. Okay, that last one needs a bit of an adjustment, doesn't it? Alright, that should do it. Perfect, right. So now we go back to Jaime. So Jaime is going to be, first of all, asking some questions. So, first of all, go to sensing. He's going to be asking some questions. Now, he's going to be asking about the numbers. So, first of all, we have to make ourselves some variables so we can make some numbers. So my first variable is going to be number 1. It's the first one. And I will need number 2. That'll be good for a start. And so now I can actually set my numbers. So one. Now I'm going to have it so that I can have a randomization. So pick any number from 1 to 10 each time you ask a question. And I'm going to do the same for number 2. So all I have to do is duplicate that, change that to number 2. So that I'm going to do. And then I want to be able to ask a question. So my question is going to be is if I join, okay, number 1 and back to operators, put another join in here, plus variables and find me a number 2. So that's going to be my question. Okay, so it should come out like this. There we go. So 7 plus 10. Now, at the moment, it's only going to happen once, and it's only going to happen nothing happens once I answer. So I'm going to unclick these. See how these have turned up here? I'm just going to unclick them. Don't need to see those. And stop the code. So basically, I want to keep doing that until such time as I get to the edge over here. So I need to put in here, repeat until I'm touching the edge. I'm touching the edge. It could be sometimes it's a sprite you're going to touch or something else. As you see, I've got the cake for later if I want to, or sprite one, which of course is down here. But we want to just, if we touch the edge, it means I've got as far as I can go. So now we need to say what happens if I answer it. And this is where you're going to come into here and go in if or else. So I will either get it right or wrong. So once again to my operators, it needs to equal something. I want the answer to be exact. So if my answer equals, back to the operators, so I'm using adding, the 1, oh come here you, it's not where you're supposed to have gone, plus 2, I'll pop the whole thing in there. Then I want him to take a step closer. So I will need to move. Now, if I want to keep score, around about now is a good time to put in a score. So I can put into here, make another variable, score, and I might keep my score up here. Okay, so I would then, at the beginning, I would set my score to 0, change it to score. When I start, and I will be changing my score by 1. There we go. Now, I might want him to move. I might want him to move by using costumes. Now, I want him to use all 4 of the walking costumes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't want to make this all bulky here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a block that makes him move using his costumes. So first of all, I'm going to make a block called walking. Okay, now I have that block available, but I have to define what that block is going to do. So I'm going to go into looks. I'm going to switch Jaime to costume A walking. Okay, and then I'm going to get him to go to next costume. A little bit of wait time in so we can actually see what is happening. Oops. Okay, and we're going to get him to repeat. So if I'm looking at costumes, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I'm going to repeat 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah, repeat that 3 times. And then I'd like him to switch back to his original stance. It should be that. Nope, This is the next one, Jaime B. Okay, so while I'm there, I'll get him to move some steps. I don't know if I want it to be 10. We'll see how far that takes us. Always bring it back. Okay, so if I do this, yeah, that's not too far. That'll give us a look good. So go back to the beginning. Good. So there we go. So every time I want him to walk, that's what I'm going to get him to do. So I'm now going to go over to my block and I can just pop in walking. Now, what am I going to do if he doesn't? So if he doesn't, I might change him to Jaime A, which is, and I might get him to say something, and use some text to speech. Set his speech to tenor, probably put it there somewhere, and I'll get him to say, okay, see what it says.
Looks like you need to have another try.
Oh, make it tenor.
Looks like you need to have another try.
Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll switch him back to his Jaime B costume. Okay, so it should look a bit like this. So there he is like that.
Looks like you need to have another try.
Okay, there we go. And there he is. So that's what's going to happen. And that's going to keep happening until such time as I get to the edge. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to set my voice to tenor. Okay, and that's all going to start when I hit the space bar. Okay, so there's my defining. I can pop that over there somewhere. So when I finally get to the edge, I'll then have to get him to do something else to level up. Okay, so I'll leave that part. I'm going to split this into 2 tutorials, and when I've finished testing to make sure it's going to do what I want it to do, I'll come back and give you the second half of the tutorial, which will be the leveling up. Okay.